other problems that go with breakdown and constant turnover. I think it's amazing that every year we go to the town financial meeting and ask for 10 police officers. One year I know we asked for 9. And even if we pay overtime, we slide money back into the budget. You have got to add $100,000 back into payroll. We cannot continue to do that because we really don't have a police department. All right. So financially, somebody, if you're not figuring this out after this, financially, somebody should be advising you on the amount of money that's being wasted by not having the proper payroll. And first responders are the police. All right. The second thing Anthony was going to tell you. So I've worked the numbers on the police station. All right. If the cellar, we got a price for the cellar for the extra 4 feet of concrete and the floor, $100,000. That's $10 per square foot. You're paying $13.35 a square foot without fixtures, which is going to be $1,450 a square foot. If you have to replace that 3,000 square feet in 20 years, at the price of this one, it'll be time value of money be $16 million. Now, if you think you're saving any money by not building that basement, you were doing the wrong thing that we continue to do with our money. $10 a square foot for 4 feet of concrete and a floor for 3,000 square feet. That will cost the taxpayers later on in 20 years, $16 million, which we won't have. Right? I mean, bottom line. All right. So, one, the police department has to be fixed. You cannot continue to hire cops, train them, give them their training, their experience, and have them walk away. I'm going to write this in the paper. You've been through 70 people in 18 years, and none of you realize that? Heidi's not here. All right? Her and Gordon, Cheryl and her father, you. This has gone on and on. Every year we have swear-in people and they disappear. 70 people. That's disgraceful. You're welcome.
Going to move on. So Mr. Renzi doesn't need to speak.
I gave you the 100,000. That's a real price we got today.
Thank you. Glad you tag teamed. All right, moving on to consent agenda. I would accept a motion to pull general warrant number 5 as we do not have enough people. I would need to recuse myself since I am on that general warrant. So
moved. Second.
Thank you. Moving. So, yes, we're going to vote on the other items on that, which would be the meeting minutes for September 26th and general warrant number 30. I would accept a motion. Oh, thank you. Yep. So vote to remove general warrant number 5. It's been motion made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. It will be on the October 24th agenda. Moving on to the consent agenda.
We accept the consent agenda as presented with the withdrawal of warrant number 5.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to public hearings. So the first public hearing has been advertised. It's in regards to the municipal court. Julia has graciously said she would present it for us. So I am opening up the first public hearing for the municipal court, which means the council will not be voting on it. Okay, Julia.
Sure. So we created chapter 3 in your code of ordinances pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 45-268, which is the enabling act that the legislator passed this summer to allow you guys to have a municipal court. So it is broken up into 2 sections. There's the municipal court and there's the housing court. So the municipal court portion includes the establishment section, which highlights the general law, details what the appointment term and qualifications of the municipal court judge are required, what's required, what the requirement of the municipal court clerk is and what those duties are, that the court shall have the authority to compel witness attendance, issue subpoenas and the like, what the court can do if someone fails to appear, specifically if someone doesn't respond to a summons, complaint, or subpoena that is properly served, they can be assessed a fine not to exceed $100 or imprisonment not to exceed 10 days or both. The court, through the judge and the clerk, has the authority to maintain the seal of the court and issue oaths. So anyone who has to testify can be sworn in by the judge or the clerk. Section 3-7 is time and place of sessions. We left this open fairly broad, so it can be any week of the month as long as it's a Monday through Friday in order to fit your needs. I know the idea is to start with just housing and then possibly move to traffic if that becomes feasible. I understand right now it's not. So this allows for you to have 2 different court sessions, one for housing, one for traffic, if your calendars are such that that makes more sense. But it allows for flexibility if, say, there's a snowstorm or, you know, you have an event going on that requires this building so that you can move and adjust the schedule as necessary. And then it's section 3-8 reviews the jurisdiction. So it has original and concurrent jurisdiction for any violations involving foster ordinances, any minimum housing violations for either foster ordinances or the Rhode Island Housing Maintenance and Occupancy Code, any jurisdiction associated with zoning violations, and then jurisdiction associated with the traffic tribunal. So we went big. You guys can implement what you want, but this allows going forward for the town, if it becomes feasible to do the traffic aspect of it, to do the traffic aspect. It allows for the imposition of penalties. So the court can issue, impose fines of $500 or less, or hold persons in contempt, etc. It has the power to decide how the complaints, warrants, and writs are to look. Those are fairly standard, so it just puts their seal on it. It covers what the costs would be, and it cites to the state law because we are limited in what you can charge in court costs to the state law. The section 312 is the authority in the absence of the municipal court judge. So the municipal court judge gets to choose an alternate. So if he has something medical or something like a conflict, there's an alternate, so you can keep the status quo and continue going on. Section 3-14 is autonomy. So the town council can't interfere with the municipal court. It is a court under the state of Rhode Island. It operates as a court, the same as the Superior Court, the Supreme Court, the traffic tribunal, etc. So unless you pass something that affects how it operates, you can't go in and tell the judge how to do things. The judge is autonomous in that respect. There's a severability section, which is common and standard and everything. So if something is struck down by the Supreme Court down the line, everything else stands but that one section. And then Article 2 of Chapter 3 is the housing. So it goes through title, which is Housing Court Ordinance. It discusses the purpose and cites to the statute, along with the establishment, judge, jurisdiction, seals, and oaths. It appoints a judge the same manner as the municipal court, and that the judge has the authority to maintain the seals and issue oaths. It discusses the power of the housing court, which is townwide jurisdiction of anything to do with the housing maintenance code, those types of things, zoning violations, etc. And then it has the authority to restrain, prevent, abate, or correct a violation. So that's essentially what we were going to the Superior Court for judicial aid and enforcement. So it's very similar to those actions. Section 320 is sessions, which is the scheduling aspect, which is gone into more detail in the municipal court portion of the ordinance, but it is reiterated here. 321 is the administration and operations. So there's the housing court judge, which can be the same as the municipal court judge. There will be anyone who works for the municipal court, such as the clerk, the stenographers, et cetera, will answer to the housing court judge, I'm sorry. And then the housing court will promulgate rules. Generally, they have the housing court and the municipal court have the same rules of procedure as, say, the Superior Court, similar to probate court, because Superior Court, District Court, everyone's rules are based on the federal rules of procedure. So the authority of the duties and clerks is to the same as the municipal court. So they exercise any duties performed by such clerks like the district court clerks or the Superior Court clerks. There is a right to appeal the housing court within 20 days after entry of judgment to the Superior Court, which is done so on the new land use calendar with Judge Lanfear. And then section 325 is annual appropriations. So this says that the council has to annually appropriate such money as necessary to maintain the court. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions by anybody in the audience? No questions? Okay, then I'm going to close I'll ask my 3 and 3, sorry. Anyone that would like to speak in opposition to these ordinances? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition to these ordinances? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition to these ordinances? Anyone that would like to speak in favor of these ordinances? Anyone that would like to speak in favor? Anyone that would like to speak in favor? Hearing none, I'm going to close that. Does anyone in the council have any questions regarding?
I do not.
Okay, so this will be on the agenda for the 24th, keeping in mind that that's the last meeting that we can vote on anything outside of the day-to-day. I'm expecting we will.
Understood.
The pressure's on. The pressure's on. So, thank you.
I don't think that's a problem.
I don't think so either.
No.
Moving on to the second public hearing, which is the Chapter 12 businesses, Section 12-31, application renewal or transfer. That too has been advertised, so I'm going to open that public hearing. And this is in regards to the recommendation to remove development plan review, notice review, and eligibility citations based on amendments required by H 7949. Recommendation to specify that liquor and cannabis businesses are required to appear in front of the town council for a public hearing. So it's a very lengthy. We have discussed it in the past. Does anyone have any questions in regards to this renewal? Application renewal or transfer?
I will say all definitions and cites to state law I did confirm. So
Oh,
it is
good.
from state.
So it is, because it does have, if you recall, Grant was putting the emblem of the state, so it means that this is abiding by the state law. So anyone have any questions regards to this ordinance? Hearing none, I'll do my 3 and 3. Anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Anyone that would like to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone that would like to speak in favor? Anyone that would like to speak in favor? Hearing none, I'm going to close this public hearing. I'll open it to the council. Do you have any questions on this particular ordinance?
I do not.
Okay,
It is pretty lengthy.
it is. If there's nothing, then I will just, what's the pleasure of the council as far as this particular ordinance is?
Do you want us to move to take a vote without the other two here?
Yep.
I make a motion to approve the applicant will rule a transfer of chapter 12 businesses
Second,
As presented.
as presented. My apologies.
second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to old business. You have in your packet the restoration or the cost, et cetera, for the restoration of the townhouse. If you recall, we were having the townhouse painted.
Mm.
We have a Champlin grant to do that. When they were getting prepared to do the painting, they were also looking at the sill and what damage has been done there. The damage is quite extensive, as you can tell. To complete this, it would cost $132,225,
Hmm.
which we obviously do not have.
That is not included in any of the grant money.
No, it is not.
Is there any grant? Do we know if there's any
There is money.
available?
There is work that can be done. The south doorway is covered within the Champlin grant, and that's $7,109 in the painting. And we haven't, what the problem is, and Mrs. Ryder, I'm sure you can jump in. The problem is that we haven't begun the painting. Now it's getting late. Champlin is saying, you haven't spent this money yet. So we're trying to get it extended. So, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Robinson, thank you. I was saying Ed, I'm trying to think what the last name was. Mr. Stone, myself have met with Mr. Gould, who is the gentleman who the state approves. That's the other layer of it. We can only use certain people.
He's the restoration.
He's the
contractor.
restoration because there is a lien on the townhouse. So we can only use certain people that the state approve, and we can only do things that the state approve. Our problem is there has been siding removed, planks removed to repair it,
To repair or to expose the
to
damage?
expose the damage, and then,
Okay.
but to repair it, we don't have the money. So now the question is, do we put the planks back up and paint it?
Mm.
And when we get the 132,000, we might as well say 133,000, by the time we have the money,
So,
so what do we do?
well, I'm opposed. I don't know how Chris feels. I'm opposed to painting over the mess. My question would be, is there any flexibility with the grant money to move the grant money that we have towards the repairs that are needed?
No.
Okay.
No.
No, we
It's-
can't
it's-
do,
We're locked into painting
Wait,
only.
Denise, is the town even a party to the grant, or is it town
Yes.
preservation?
where the
Oh.
town is, it
Okay,
is the
so-
town's,
So we have a choice. We either lose the money or paint over rotted wood.
and if you,
Well-
well, not all of it's rotted. It's not the
Not-
wood, the planks that, it's the sill that's rotted.
Which
It's
is the
not-
foundation of the building.
But it's not just the sill.
No, I mean, if you
It's
look at this,
Partway up the,
It's
The-
like a balloon framing
mm,
and it's
It-
all rotted from the sill up so
the
many
way-
feet.
the way Bill explained it to me is with these types of buildings, you can't build from the sill up. You have to build it backwards. You have to, because of the way the building's built with the, it's, right, it's not normal construction. So you have to hang the wall and then place the sill underneath it. So you have to, he's
mean,
gonna have
yeah,
to
I understand.
open that whole corner of that
Yeah.
building
It's got to expose everything.
to replace the sill.
So here's a more serious question, not just the painting and the repair, but is the structure, because the sill is, and the disintegration of the wood from the sill up so many feet, is it able to take a snow load? Is there any hint of that building being
I
damaged
haven't,
further
that
from the
hasn't
weight?
been, that has not been brought up, so I can't say one way or the other. Have you heard anything?
No, and it's only in that
One section.
corner, that one corner.
It's,
So he's gonna have to open,
it's
that whole
36.7
corner.
feet on the south side, 13 feet back on the east and west sides.
So
So-
there's no money available.
So the-
We don't, we're trying to find a grant that will help us with this, but right now we don't. They're not gonna, I don't think they're gonna be able to paint now, so now I think you're gonna have to go back to Champlin and say, just because of the time of year, we can't paint.
It's got an extension till the spring,
Okay,
okay?
but we're still not gonna have $132,000.
No. You have to go there. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So
I
any
forget.
options? Really?
Wait until the spring.
Wait
If we
and see
can,
how-
if they can get it, he did get an
I
extension.
don't,
Okay,
I-
He did for that amount of time, which, you know. The way it was explained to me, because I told Ed I was coming to this meeting. Is when you look at the pictures, when you look at you're talking about what, this far up?
2 or 3 feet?
Right. And having talked to Mr. Gould, he never mentioned anything about the building failing.
Good.
He's always said that, you know, for what it is and how long it's been there, it's okay.
mhm.
But there's obviously work to do. Sorry. I hate that thing. There's, you know, a lot of work to do. The problem is if you wait and you don't get it painted, then you lose the $32,000 to do any painting whatsoever.
Hmm.
Now, it is, you know, our understanding that, he opened up the south side and whatever else he had to do to examine it. And I think the town contracted, like $3,500 to do that.
Yep,
And putting boards back is part of that,
right.
okay?
So we're not paying extra to put the boards
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Other than some of the boards are beyond repair and you would have to buy a few clabbers, but again, it's that much room.
So here's an idea. If I'm hearing you correctly, Mr. Gould is not, would he agree if we did spend the money to paint and apply the boards back? It wouldn't be money totally wasted if we could carefully take them off if the money was raised to redo the wood.
Then you could
Underneath.
reuse them, yeah, because he wouldn't
Does
put,
that make sense to you,
One-
Chris? Cause I mean, we're painting
well,
over
there's,
crap.
there's one issue with that is part of the wall on that side towards the doorway.
The south
to-
side, yeah.
On the south side was not repaired correctly
To their code or to any code?
to their code,
Restoration, to the historical code.
right?
Okay,
So in order for him to put it back, I mean,
he wants to get paid to fix it, to put it back up. He doesn't want to touch it if it's not restored
well,
correctly.
you know, that's,
That's his
it
job.
was my understanding that he would just put that back.
Back, right.
So you can get it painted without doing
Right.
any more, except I think the door was included.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
And it's, you know, either you do that or you paint nothing
And lose the money.
and, you know, you have the big black tar paper stuff. Or you just,
Yeah, does it make sense?
so here's what happened originally. We told him we didn't want him to put it back because we didn't want him to put it back if we were gonna take it back off
Mhm.
and repair it. But now with the price of the repair, we could have told him to put it back.
Right.
and even that, from what we've been told, is a drop in the bucket
Right.
from what should be done
Mhm.
to that entire building.
Right.
Because
Which would
underneath-
probably be $1 million.
Yeah.
At least.
We were looking at 300 to 500,000 2 years ago, right? 300,000 anyway.
Oh, yeah,
the
probably more,
sills.
just to get the floor
For the
set.
city, Yeah,
Right.
But the roof, there's still issues with the roof. It still is leaking. I don't know if some flashing wasn't done.
No,
Bricks were supposed to be taken down or something like
Chimney, I
that.
think was
The
taken
chimney.
down.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I'll have to look.
I know
to be
the
honest.
oil tank has been removed and
Right.
it's outside.
I remember.
So in my opinion, unless we want to let go of the building, we gotta find a way to repair it.
Right,
There's
You know,
there's no-
eventually, but
There's no
again,
question about it.
you've
It's-
got to go for the big giant grants from the National Park Service.
which is,
Next year.
well, we looked into that and it costs all this money to get into that.
Right, you have
So-
to have, because it is so involved and you're going through, you know, you don't talk to the National Park Service, you talk to Rhode Island or
Right.
Preservation, who then talk to.
Okay.
And it's that kind of
Well,
thing.
Normally, we never, normally, one wouldn't want to spend the taxpayers' money painting over something that needs to be
Well,
torn
this is the
down.
grant. The
So,
paint
yeah.
will be done by, the
Right.
painting is done by the Champlin grant.
So the good thing about it is if we get it, if we do let them paint and get the wood up and painted, if we could safely take it back down, we haven't lost everything.
Right,
You certainly
I wouldn't want to,
lose the new
normally, we
board you
wouldn't even
put
be
up.
Right.
talking about this.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it was because we've met several times
Yeah.
with Mr.
Right.
Gould,
Right.
trying to figure out, and honestly, Chris, well, I can say for myself, I didn't want to make a decision on the townhouse, which
Yeah.
I think is our largest asset as a
Okay.
town.
Okay,
And so we were going back and forth and, you know, Gordon was like, well, you decide. And Chris and I were like, oh, and, you know, we weren't sure what to do. So I chickened out, if you will, and brought it to council and said, okay,
No,
what do you guys want to
I
do?
think the only choice we have is to use the money to paint
Mhm.
and to take the boards down in
Well,
the future when the
here's-
money becomes available.
Here's my theory. Maybe we could have him paint to a point on
Nope.
the south side. It's gotta be
All
complete.
It's got an all or
Has to be a
nothing
complete job.
by the Champlin grant.
By the
So,
Champlain grant.
At least by
I know.
John getting us an extension, we have until the spring.
Right,
Okay,
right,
All right.
right.
And the next council can.
Yes. but no, in all fairness, though, I think that's the only way you can really go, because we're not gonna miraculously get 150,000. And I don't expect it to get cheaper as the time goes
No.
on. If it's 132 now, it's gonna be 150 in a year.
And even to do the 130,000, if you still have so much more
More.
to do.
Because
It
that's
makes
not
sense to
even
try to go
touching-
for the.
That's
full
not even
achievement.
touching
That's-
underneath,
That's touching that corner.
right,
One of the
Nothing
main
else.
problems is you cannot use regular lumber.
True.
He has to find
mhm,
the age boards that are the same material that the boards are on the building now.
Which, you know, it is the jewel of the crown
right,
and.
It
you
is.
can-
I agree.
I
under-
agree.
You know, I understand that because I'm with preservation, so I would.
no, I agree with you, I
Yeah.
think this is,
Yeah, I don't
um,
think anybody
Nobody's
disagrees
disagreeing with
at
it.
all.
Yeah.
I just don't, it's just sad that it's so much. and
Yeah.
I
Bob, you
can't get
wanted
the
to-
money.
you'll need to come, Bob, you'll need to come up. I know. Name and
Thank you, Lynn.
address, Bob. Thank you, Lynn.
Fontaine, Danielson Pike. What are you coating these boards with? Is it an oil base?
I can't answer that.
Because as you know, an oil base will sink in and will prevent any further rot because it won't let the water in.
Right.
So if you could do that initially,
But I can't answer that. I
Just
don't know
an
what the
idea.
paint is gonna
Mm.
use.
I'm
Yeah.
just throwing it out on the
Yeah.
water.
I think, Bob, if I'm not mistaken, after all we've listened to over the last 4 years, they tell us what kind of materials they're using.
Oh, I'm sure they
We don't
do.
have any say.
I'm sure
Yeah,
they do,
it has
but
to, you have to jump through a whole bunch
the
of. hoops.
smartest person in the world can also be the dumbest.
Yeah.
And as we know, over the years, oil base was always used.
Yep.
As was lead, and then we
most
found out we
houses
couldn't
for
use lead.
150 years. No,
Just an
no
idea, guys.
argument.
I'm looking through it, Bob,
Alex,
and it
a
doesn't
fake
say
paint.
anything. It doesn't say what kind of paint. They're just talking more about
Synthetic
the.
oil.
It's,
Oil-based
I was
paint.
gonna say the same thing. It's synthetic oil.
And you know where that goes.
Yes, thank you.
But there is quite a bit that still needs to be
Yeah.
done.
What do you need from us today?
I guess we decide whether we paint in the spring and see where we go from there.
I,
You agree with us
wow,
or
I
no?
think what we gotta do is if that's included in the original repair, we gotta get him here to put the boards back
Oh,
on
right.
before it's winter.
Well,
And fix-
I'm
and
meeting with
fix
him
the
next
door?
Wednesday because
Okay.
we're having this council.
And he will fix the door at the same time?
I
There's,
think-
there's door repairs to be done, you
Right,
said?
Right.
Maybe
there
you could
are,
do it
but
all.
I honestly don't know that.
so.
The other thing is, the new clavids are not part of that $3,500, so the town would have to
But-
go by, I
But
don't know how
there's
many
not,
clavids
yeah,
are.
I don't think there's that many. So I would
Okay.
accept a motion saying to allow him to paint in the spring, put the clapboards back.
I make a motion that we allow Mr. Gould to proceed with the repairs necessary and commence painting in the spring.
What's another contractor for painting?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's another, yeah. Who's sick?
Is he the general contractor, though? Is he representing us?
Bob Mason?
Yeah. Who's sick? And so,
Is Mr. Gould?
Second,
thank you.
Does Mr. I'm sorry.
Is it further discussion?
Does Mr. Gould act as a general contractor?
No.
Being the expert?
No.
No, it's a
No.
different person.
Okay.
it's a different person doing the painting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. At this time, I would accept a motion to add design to build explanation on the police station for discussion only.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. So at the last meeting, and I've been thinking about it and, oh, I just wanted to jump in. So the motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The last meeting, some people had some questions about what exactly design to build meant and how much money we were going to we have for that. Since that meeting, Gordy Brayton and myself have been discussing this and how to answer questions, because of course there's a lot out there. So design to build, and I had no idea until I got involved, is that you tell the contractors, this is how much money you have to spend. Design a building with that much money. So as you all know, we took out a loan or a bond for $3 million. That $3 million has been in the bank and we've gotten money from it. We've also put monies aside. So we're at about $5 million. So we asked for a design to build for $5 million. And that's when New England Construction came up with their design to build. There's been discussion about the basement. There's pros and cons. New buildings aren't putting in a basement. We should have a basement. It goes back and forth. We have also submitted for grants for the police station. We won't know whether we get those grants until probably January. But they're looking at not starting until March. So if we get the grants that are, one of them is significant. If we get that grant, then we have that money to put aside. Then we can look at whether we want a basement, what this looks like, what that looks like, you know, because some of the portico, no, what's it called, Tyler? Thank you, a Sally Port. That's all right. A
She does
Sally
her
Port.
homework.
So discussion on what the Sally Port would look like, drive through, drive in, back up. There's all kinds of things, but these things cost money. So right now, we just want to get a police station. If we can get, you know, a cherry on top, great. But right now, let's just get the police station. So that's basically what the design to build is. We have 5 million that we can build this police station. We have grants out there for more money. If we get those grants, and I've been asking because my term ends in November and I would love to say, yes, we got this. I've been told they won't know until January. So I'm fingers crossed and hoping that we get that.
I just have one question.
Can I answer a question? If it's discussion only, okay, thank you. Oh, you need to come up.
Bill Keefe, 18 Bob's Hill. I just have a question. It's so if we do this design to build.
Which we've already done.
Yep.
And we've
And,
awarded the,
and then you get this grant, say it's $3 million.
Mhm,
Is a design build company that you're dealing with going to be able to
mhm,
change the design without
Yes.
costing us more
yes.
money?
They know that we have a
It's a
possibility of
moving
getting,
target.
it's a moving target.
Okay.
And there, so it might change what the walls or the flooring looks like.
Right.
It might change what the lighting looks like. It might change what, so,
But they're not gonna charge us
Dave-
more money to go back to redesign anything.
no,
Okay.
that's not my understanding.
Right, and I think there's been enough discussion by the committee on where we could eliminate or adjust
Yeah,
to get the number down, that if the money does become available, those things can come back on the table and be discussed,
Okay,
like the
good.
basement.
okay,
The original design, Phil, was made with the thought that it would be added on to.
okay,
So if they followed that plan, but shrunk whatever, we still should be able to add on
add that on without any additional. cost.
without any.
And the
Okay.
design, the way it's designed now is that in the future, like
Yeah.
not even
Right,
in
Down
10,
the road.
15 years from now, there's the ability to add on.
Okay, all right, I
Okay.
just didn't want to get into that same thing that we
No.
spend lots of money on
Yeah.
plans
no.
that we don't use.
What I'd love to see is a grant go through, and then we can use the money for the townhouse that we have saved.
Well, you can only do a grant. The grant was for the police station, so you
That-
can't,
That's exactly right, but the interest that we accrued on the money in the bank, no way.
no,
no,
doesn't work that way. We have to, I know.
the money we set aside from the ARPA funds,
We
if that's
put
what you're
it-
talking about, that's where we're supposed to spend it.
And that's where we've reported it to go.
I just have a quick question. I remember the last meeting. You voted for New England Construction
Yes,
Yes.
to give them, I think it was 62,000 for,
That's about right.
for
I
the
believe.
design.
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay,
Yeah, it is roughly
I thought I
62 or
had the minutes.
63,000. That's to
Okay.
move forward.
but they have also been contracted to then actually build the building, because I wasn't clear on that. Whoops.
No. So the contract to actually build will come after. So this
Okay.
is to figure
It's
out if we can
separate.
have a meeting of the minds on the budget and on the layout, because if we can't we
Got
walk
it.
away, there's no further
Okay.
payments to be made. If they can hire New England
Okay.
Construction to actually build the building.
So far, the meetings of the mind has only been on the designing part.
right. And they'll be meeting with Tyler and Chief Lindell and Gordy Brayton and others on what this building is gonna look like and how to move forward with that.
And theoretically, they will be the ones who most likely
Yes.
Yes,
should everything.
yes,
mesh.
yes.
The number was 65,850.
65,850, Mrs. Ryder.
65,850?
Yes.
And they have a reputation of building other police.
They've, they,
Throughout the country, is that
they-
correct? Yeah.
within New England,
He said over 100.
he does a lot and they have one of the reasons that we really like them is because they have a police.
Representative that.
Yeah.
We've spoken with him and he's
Okay.
built so many of these police stations before, many similar to the one that we want to build. And he has an impeccable reputation, so that's one of the reasons why we suggested going with the company that we did.
Yeah, because that was really like, for me, that was the selling point.
This is their first go at it.
Right, right. So, and they were very enthusiastic, so. Okay, so that ends that. Thank you. Moving on to new business, the pavement management, that's the beta that we have here, which if you recall, that is the 5-year plan, I believe, that Mr. Rogers had gotten us
I think it was 5.
5
This one,
years.
I think this one's 5.
So it's just moving on. Mr. Rogers unfortunately could not be here tonight. He had some issues at home. So this is in his budget. He just needs a signature on it. So I bring it to the council for whether or not,
I make a motion, we give Denise the permission to give him the approval.
Second,
Discussion?
want to fine tune that?
Um,
I
Let
knew
me
you
get
were
that
gonna say
surprise
that.
look on my face.
I was surprised you let that go through. I was like, oh, we're gonna get a veto.
Denise permission to sign the beta client authorization for the amount of $16,500.
So moved.
Second, sorry,
Okay,
I'm a
now,
little slow tonight.
did you get what you needed? No?
I remember when this report was done, they went and they analyzed all the roads and said, you know, this is what needs to be done to these roads and about how much it would cost.
Yeah.
And is it every 3 years that you re-up on this management company?
I thought it was. I can read to you what their project description says, okay? It says, project description is re-inspection of town-owned paved roads with automated technology to determine current conditions of the roadways. Now, if you remember from, I think it was 3 years ago, because it was when Mr. Rogers had first come on, he had reached out to
Right,
this company.
right.
And they went around and they rated each of the schools, each of the roads. And so the scope of service is that Beta will conduct the scans and provide the town with updated pavement report and online platform to reflect current conditions for use with planning. Okay, so that's what, and they figured it's going to take 365 days to complete. I don't know that that's what
I
it's
don't
going
know.
to take, but
Yes. Well, my real question was, do you know where you are? I mean, was there a goal set for a year or a goal set for years, and did you accomplish that goal? Or is this, I mean,
I think this is the way I looked at it. I thought it was a program for Gordon to use and be able to point his funds that he has available to use in that, what they recommend that he should be doing.
right,
That was the
Okay.
purpose of it.
but out of all
But
those
I don't
roads and
know.
everything.
I don't know. I know
It's-
that there's been paving done.
Right,
and
I
the-
just
you
know
know-
the percentage, and it was there supposed to be a certain percentage, was
I-
there ever
I think it's all regulated by the
timeline.
money.
Right,
just based on money?
money, right, I mean, obviously, isn't
Yeah,
everything,
well, Isn't it?
you know? Okay. Right, right, so,
So this actually gives priority to each road.
Right. Right. I just didn't know if there were goals set.
there
at certain
were,
Well-
if you
times.
recall,
Right,
last
I know
time there were
there's the
goals.
Ultimate goal.
Well, and I think there were goals set as to where we would be with
Well,
the
like-
roads that had the most
Right.
need.
Right.
And where we were with those and then looking at, well, what money we have, we might not be able to do the ones with the most need, but we can do these that are the second least or second most need.
Right, but it's not all paving, like he chip
Oh,
sealed
yeah,
out
I know.
here. He chip sealed Old Plainfield Pike,
Right,
so he's done his different operations.
I
it's-
know, the
and
report
it's-
is online. But it just says, okay, this is what you need to do. But it wasn't, there wasn't anything like, okay, we're looking at this. We're gonna do this, and this year, and this, and this, the next year. I was just curious.
I think when Mr. Rogers does his budget and does his capital,
He tries to
That
figure
he-
that
he puts that
into
in
his
there,
budget.
Okay.
so.
Okay.
It does seem to be incremental, and it does seem that the state is requiring this plan and these milestones met. And I think the match is like, it says like 33% matching funds. So when the milestones are agreed upon and reached, the state continues to fund the ultimate goal of the 5-year plan, but it is done incrementally.
Who establishes those goals?
I think it
company?
was established by yeah,
Beta.
they did the review with DPW. They outlined a plan and they targeted so much work per year to be done.
And then the state makes those mandates?
Well, the state agrees to them and the releases funds based on the work, the projects agreed upon and the projects completed.
I don't think he gets money back until he completes the project.
Right.
Okay.
I just didn't see where it said you're gonna get this done in this year and this done in this year.
how could they do
I-
that without us saying
Right.
this is how much money
I mean,
we're putting
it's
aside?
Sometimes a goal,
Right.
you know, we'd like to.
We
wish
would
for
like
sort
to,
of
there's a
thing.
lot we would like to. Thank you. So the motion has been made and it's been seconded. All in favor? Aye, opposed? Thank you. The next one is, and this is a program that will move along, stay with the department. It would stay with the DPW department. The next one is the Foster Bridge projects, town space usage for the, they're doing work down in Moosup Valley, the bridge down there. And they wanted permission to store equipment, et cetera, at Green Acres. So that's basically what this is. They have a contract with us or an agreement that they will restore Green Acres because obviously large equipment's gonna make some ruts and dents, et cetera. They will restore it to what it looks like now. So that's what we have here before us. So what is the pleasure of the council?
You need a motion made to sign the letter of agreement.
Yes. Let's make a motion first and then you can say something.
I make a motion that we allow council president to sign the agreement for the Foster Bridge Plan project.
Second,
Tyler,
good.
do you want to come up and, that's what I was wondering.
I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
Basically just doing like that.
Okay. So this one here. Thank you. All right, thank you.
I think we should find out how long they're gonna be storing this equipment there, because I think this project is supposed to take like more than a year.
Yeah.
2 years. 2 years?
26.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's something to think about.
Good point.
So the issue with that is that the agreement for them to do the work and for them to pay for the bottom part of it was entered into last year. And part of that is that we will allow them access to whatever space they need to get the work done. Yes, this is just like a follow-up letter that was done, I believe, last summer. Summer
Yes.
23, I
Yeah.
believe, is when that contract went in, because it started with the covered bridge.
Sorry.
But good point, because the
Yeah.
covered bridge was only supposed to be a couple of weeks and now it's going to be 4 months. So that, yes, it is. They got a red light and everything. Because when they said a red light, I'm like, a red light in Moosup Valley?
It's 3 different light systems, they roll them down here from Canada. They're made.
Yep.
There you
I
go.
was over there.
Sightseeing, I'm going to take a ride down. Going to have to take a ride down,
Field
look
trip.
at it. Yeah, there you go. So the motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Moving on, November meetings. We're at that time of year. November, our first meeting is November 14th. Then the next meeting would be November 28th, which is Thanksgiving. So I'm assuming we don't want to meet on Thanksgiving. We also have to have a transition meeting after the election.
That's
So
the first meeting in December, isn't it?
no, it's a workshop. It's a separate meeting. So I was wondering if, I've checked with Cheryl and I've checked with Heidi. If November 21st, it's the Thursday before Thanksgiving, if we could have the a meeting that night, and it would be the transition workshop,
The 21st.
the 21st. So I obviously don't know who's going to be on, who's going to win the election, but I need
None
to
of
check
us
with,
do.
right. But I need to check with current
I know
council.
it isn't gonna be me.
I have to check with our current council.
Just saying.
It'll be 6 o'clock. Okay,
So we're looking at Thursday,
Thursday,
the
the
21st
21st.
at 5:30, 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Um,
I'm open.
and that obviously is tentative. I'm hoping that whoever gets on can accommodate us. Whoever wins the election.
And where would, when it
Right.
says the location,
The
what,
location. So talking about the November meetings, I would like to have another meeting at the townhouse.
okay,
Because we need to continue that. We have had one already, I believe, in this calendar year, but I want to just make sure we have one.
You always
Keeping-
pick when it gets cold.
I know. Well, I wanted to do it in the summer, but we couldn't. Oh, so I was wondering if the November 21st one could be at,
Why not?
because we have Zoom now. We do not have Zoom access at the townhouse. I'm assuming our December 12th meeting is the swearing in, going over to the new council. People are gonna want that on Zoom. We've traditionally done that meeting at the townhouse.
Yes.
But now that we have Zoom, I'm thinking people are gonna want to see people being sworn in, appointments made, etc.
Is that November, the transition
November 21st,
to?
it's a workshop. I will tell you right now, I am thinking that there will not be ordinance participation. Because it's a transition meeting to notify the new council what, and if you see my dining room table, it's getting bigger by the day. So that's where we stand. So I would accept a motion to have a transition workshop on November 21st at 6 o'clock in the townhouse.
so moved.
Second.
Discussion,
Bring your heavy boudandis.
yes. Okay,
It's got the meetings, is, you know,
What
Right.
side of the building's open?
you still see through the walls, but.
right. Any
Yeah,
further
wear your heavy
discussion?
Boots.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is Mr. Walden has been recognized by the Rhode Island State Firefighters League, and he was recognized as the firefighter of the year
Wow.
last
Awesome.
night.
Awesome.
So, truth be told, I wrote this proclamation. It was presented to him last night. I just need to bring it forward to you. to get it. I found out Tuesday that he was receiving the award, and I asked if we could do a proclamation. So would somebody like to read it? Because I can.
Yeah.
Thank-
Whereas Tom Walden has been a member of the Foster Fire Companies for 45 years and has volunteered his time and resources, as has been tradition and continues to be, an element part of the essence and tradition of our country and the essential to its spirit and vitality. And whereas Tom Walden has been a lieutenant, a deputy chief, and an assistant to the chief, and is dedicated to serving the residents of the town of Foster. And whereas it is even more in evidence that our community's greatest resource is its people. And whereas the residents of Foster and many town organizations have benefited from Thomas Walden's sharing of his skills and talents throughout the years by serving his community. And whereas the townspeople of Foster wish to show their appreciation and recognition to Tom Walden, who serves with dedication at the expense of his own and his family's time. And whereas it is fitting to set aside a special day in tribute to dedicated citizens such as Thomas Walden, who work to improve the quality of life in our community and make it a special place in which to live, work, and recreate. Now, therefore, the Forster Town Council hereby proclaims October 9th, 2024 to be Tom Walden Appreciation Day, and hereby encourages all residents to recognize, honor, and support Thomas Walden for serving our community. Dated this day, the 10th of October, 2024, Honorable Denise DeFranco, Council President.
What's the pleasure of the council?
To adopt this proclamation for
Second.
Tom Walden.
Thank you. Discussion,
Well deserved.
well deserved, well,
Yes,
well, 45 years.
absolutely.
That's, people don't know what Tom has done for this town. They really, really don't. The motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And congratulations, Tom.
Congratulations, Tom, in cyberspace. Hopefully
So-
watching on
No,
Zoom.
actually, he's at a
He's getting another
race
award.
committee. He's at a race committee meeting. So, moving on, we have next I finished all my cheat notes. Thank you. The Police Communication Council Equipment Cops Grant. I'm going to rely on
Captain
Captain
Dominguez.
Domingo.
What kind of grant is a cops grant?
I don't know. I don't like the
There we go.
accreditation. I
So,
don't like it.
well, to begin with, the current console we have now has reached its end of life cycle. That was about a
Sure.
year and a half ago. So it's antiquated now. It's going to break down, and when it does, there's no parts to replace it. This is tied into fire, rescue, as well as police.
Yeah.
Myself and Kelly were able to get a grant for the $120,000 it would cost for this new system. It comes along with the maintenance as well as the 24/7 monitoring of the equipment. So if anything goes down, the company sees it and it gets fixed right then. It's done through Cops Grant, which it's specifically for this equipment. This piece of equipment is the $120,000. It has nothing to do with hiring more cops, which I don't know why
Is
anybody would
out
want to
there.
have more, but that being said, it's specifically for that console. It's just done through that. The name is misleading.
Captain Dominguez, easy question.
Yep.
Will
like
they
it.
support you and this equipment in the move to the new station?
Yes, it will
It's
be-
already included?
So we held off for a little while until we couldn't hold off any longer.
Okay,
And that new equipment will be transferred over to the new building.
they'll support the whole move and the
Correct.
reset up?
Yes. Yep. They also, and
Great.
we went, so I got a couple quotes from a couple different companies. And we decided to go with Goosetown because of that maintenance plan and the 24/7 monitoring. Plus Goosetown is familiar with our microwave links and all the tower communications, all that
Yeah.
stuff is done basically through Goosetown. So,
Was he the gentleman that was here and did the
Peter Harrison.
presentation?
and
Yeah, I think-
Myron, yep.
Yep. They knew this stuff.
And they've been around. in
So what
this
do you
town
need from
for-
us? Denise?
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
Where is the server gonna be?
The server,
The system.
all right, so that's not the console. So I think what you're.
So
talking
you're
about
gonna
is
use
what's
the old server?
until we get into the new building.
Until we get in
Yes.
the new building.
Okay.
Yep.
And the server
This is-
is
this is
different than
just-
the console.
What they
Yeah.
sit, the dispatchers sit behind a desk
Yeah, yeah.
and they change
It's
channels
just-
and,
Yeah.
do
it's
their
just
magic
The
back there.
operating system.
correct.
Right.
Okay.
What would you need from us? Denise?
So we've already signed this grant.
Yeah.
And it's already in motion.
So this is just.
we
a
don't-
But
They don't award
this-
it. It's been awarded.
Right, it's been awarded, we've already
Okay.
signed it,
Okay.
but Kelly and Tyler had been talking about it, there's been a lot of misinformation out there
Okay.
again. So Kelly
Wow.
asked to have it on the agenda so that we could get out what a COPS grant is, because there are a couple of.
There are
COPS
several
grants,
cup, correct.
And this was specifically for
The console.
the dispatch
Yes.
system, so that's what the COPS.
So
grant
we
is.
don't have to make a motion.
No,
We
it's
do not
already
have to
been
make a
done.
motion, it
This
was
was
just
this
more
was
of
last
an
year.
informative.
Yeah, I know.
It was
Everybody
just-
got it?
Go right ahead.
Yeah.
You know the routine.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Good job.
So this has nothing to do with the grant from Senator Reed, the
No.
money that you got?
No.
And
No.
that was 100 and,
That was
20 something?
120.
and that's also for communications,
Yes,
But that could go
That-
for the tower.
right?
But
It could go
that's-
for,
That's for the console itself. It's specifically for
Right.
that specific.
Your
right,
grant.
but the, Senator Reed's money,
That's something.
that's
Totally
separate.
but,
This is a console we don't have to purchase
Right.
with that money.
right, but that's also for communications.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Lynn, I think we were thinking about the tower is expensive.
Yes.
right. That's a whole nother,
Yeah,
We're exploring different options for that.
yes.
good.
So that concludes the open session. We'll be going into executive session. Who has it?
David's got it.
I move to go into executive closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-65
No, dash 46-5.
It's 42-46-4.
That's not what it says.
It's this one here.
I read that.
refer?
I just read that.
42.
42-46-5 is what
Okay,
it says.
that's not what I heard.
A2.
A2. I
Oh.
didn't hear that. I'm
Oh, I
sorry.
didn't say A2.
My ears heard something different.
This would be for discussion considering, no, this would be
It's
for
for
discussion.
potential litigation.
Okay, so it's for discussion or work sessions regarding litigation according to Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A2.
Yes.
Second.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
See you guys.
Take care.